In 1838, a British scientist named Charles Wheatstone published a paper detailing his discovery and findings about the human eye. He discovered that the eyes work by taking two perspectives of the same image and binding them together to create one three-dimensional view. This could be seen using drawings of different objects from different perspectives. Wheatstone created a device allowing images to be viewed this way, creating the very first stereoscope. Having to be able to produce a drawing for the use of the stereoscope made the creation of images difficult and impractical. Luckily, the invention of the photograph was on the rise. British scientist William Henry Fox Talbot invented the photograph and delved into the research of mechanical reproduction. By 1840, Talbot began to produce stereographic images for Wheatstone. The invention of the photograph allowed the stereoscope to be more commercially friendly, and in 1849, the stereoscope became even more commercially available with David Brewster's innovation for the stereoscope. Brewster's version of the stereoscope used prisms rather than mirrors, making a more compact and portable stereoscope. As a result of the work of these three scientists, the stereoscope boomed in popularity. Views were being created by the thousands, with people all across Europe purchasing images of anything and everything. These views were used for a variety of reasons, from entertainment, comedy, geography, to family self-portraits. In 1861, the stereoscope's popularity continued to grow with Oliver Wendell Holmes' invention of a simplified stereoscope. Holmes' stereoscope was lightweight, cheap, and most importantly was intentionally not patented. This allowed for the stereography to spread to America, with U.S. firms beginning to produce this cheap gadget. The stereoscope was seen as an item of untapped potential, with people finding uses for it in various ways, but the stereoscope's main use could be found in education. Several stereograph companies began to delve into stereoscopes, with the largest companies being Underwood & Underwood, as well as the Keystone View Company. The Keystone View Company was founded in 1892 by Beneville Lloyd Singley, a former salesman for the Underwood Company. Keystone would eventually grow to become the largest and last stereograph producer of the 1920s. Keystone's longevity can be accredited to the company taking on an educational emphasis, making stereographs for students and teachers to use for instruction. The creation of stereographs required physical labor, and not only the capturing of the image, but workers would have to place the papers in frames and in the sunlight, creating the quality of images that we see today. With Underwood & Underwood and Keystone being the competitors in the stereograph industry, Underwood had stereographs that were much higher in quality and had information printed on the back. During the Great War, both Keystone and Underwood were producing stereographs relevant to the war. In 1921, competition died down between the two companies as Keystone purchased the rights to Underwood & Underwood Stereoviews, increasing the volume and quality of Keystone's collection. With these newly acquired Stereoviews, Keystone would publish several sets, with our primary source being the Keystone View set of 1923. The views from Underwood & Underwood can be identified by the prefix V. A veteran writer named Major Joseph Mills Hanson was a veteran of the war and was strict in the organization of the set, allowing it to flow as it covered many aspects of the war in great detail and in chronological order.
The Stereoviews tell the story of World War I, providing detailed images and text describing the events that took place during the war. The first Stereoview in the set covers the major moment that sparked the beginning of the war. The Austro-Hungary government occupied Bosnia and Herzegovina after much resistance from the residing populations. Austria-Hungary was meant to only temporarily take over their government until peace was restored. This wasn't the case, as Austria-Hungary refused to withdraw, angering its Serbian neighbor. On June 28, 1914, the Archduke, Francis Ferdinand, the next in power for Austria-Hungary, and his consort were shot by a Serbian nationalist. As a result, Austria declared war on Serbia, beginning the First World War. These images show what the war in Serbia will look like later on. The following Stereoviews covering the events leading up to the war depict images of soldiers preparing. On the back of these views, there is information diving into the details of the armies and their formations. The text on the back of these Stereoviews also cover the history between Austria, Russia, France, and Germany. Continuing throughout the Keystone View Company set of 1923, we can see major themes that are documented in these images. The themes being major battles, technology, and the devastating effects of war. The first battles taking place in Belgium are captured in these views, the first being in Weiss, where the initial sounds of war could be heard. Austria-Hungary was backed by Germany in the war, resulting in German troops invading Belgium as a way around a strong French defense. Belgium was a neutral country, so the invasion of it by German troops angered Britain, resulting in both French and British troops arriving to slow the German army. Many key battles took place along the Western Front, with one of the most important ones being the Battle of Marne. During the Battle of Marne, French troops created a gap in the German lines. A gap creates the possibility for a flank, which would be detrimental to the German army. Both sides took defensive positions, digging trenches, and in an attempt to outflank each other, moved north up until both forces hit the sea, creating a large system of trenches. These armies were practicing what is known as trench warfare. Images of trench warfare are captured in the views, showing both the horrible conditions of the trenches and some of the lives lost. Another violent and major battle that is documented by the Stereoviews set is the Battle of Verdun, which was the result of a German offensive attack on the French city of Verdun, resulting in the loss of hundreds of thousands of lives. The city of Verdun was a small and seemingly insignificant territory to lose, but the French felt quite differently. The French believed losing the city would cause a major shift in the nation's morale and lead to a change in the war. As a result, the French defended the city, leading to one of the bloodiest battles of the war. In an effort to relieve the French troops, the British started their own battle along the Western Front, known as the Battle of the Somme, another bloody battle which led to the death of many British soldiers. Both battles are captured in the Stereoviews set, with text detailing how the French were able to defend their city. Throughout the war, many war crimes and atrocities were carried out by German soldiers, with some of them being when German forces invaded the neutral nation of Belgium. German soldiers would murder thousands of Belgian citizens, including women and children. Pillaging of these cities and towns was justified by what Germans claimed to be civilian disobedience. The impact of these atrocities were captured by photographers in these views. These views captured a city in Belgium named Dinant, where German soldiers gathered 116 innocent civilians and unloaded their weapons. Civilian sites, such as churches and cathedrals, were destroyed. Later in the set, the effects of war in France displaying destroyed cathedrals and villages are shown. One Stereoview in particular shows the city of Reims in Marne, France. The image details the destroyed city and talks about the impact it had on the residents who once lived there. In the text, it says, "Before the war, 120 people lived here, but today, 2,000 can find a place to lay their heads." War also devastated the people of Belgium, as can be clearly seen by these images of Belgian refugees. The documentation of these atrocities is so important, especially when you realize that they were primarily used for education in American schools. The production of these stereographs provides students with a detailed understanding of the dangers and consequences of war. World War I is very unique for a variety of reasons, with one of the reasons being the military technology that was utilized. The tragic loss of life can be partially accredited to the weapons each side had access to. One of the most popular weapons of mass destruction the Germans utilized was the Skoda mortars. These large mortars were able to destroy reinforced concrete walls and steel guns used in forts, making it one of the most destructive weapons in the war. The Allies utilized the power of mortars as well, with both sides using them to destroy trenches and penetrate fortresses. The French had access to a wide variety of weapons, such as huge naval and railroad guns. The Allies together had a large arsenal of technology, from British anti-aircraft guns and tanks to unique weapons such as the rifle grenade. A majority of the war took place on land, however there was still action in the North Sea, with British and German navies battling with large and advanced battle cruisers. The Germans also had access to torpedoes and mines, which is evident as conflict created by the German Navy played a large role in the U.S.'s eventual involvement in the war. The Germans, along with a strong navy, had also been building a barbaric but unique arsenal of weaponry years prior to the war. This can be seen by the creation of fire spray and illegal use of poison gas. In this Stereoview, we can see the fire spray, which was captured from the Austrian army. The Stereoviews played an important role in educating the American public on the realities of war, as not only do these stereographs cover a wide range of events in chronological order, but they do it in great detail with descriptive text on the back. The spread of information during the war was very important, especially when you take into consideration that the Espionage Act was enacted just 2 months after the U.S. entered the war on April 4, 1917. The Espionage Act was a call to prohibit the spread of information relating to national defense that had the intent to hurt the United States or give advantage to a foreign nation. The act gave the Postmaster General more power with the ability to seize mail that questioned the U.S. government. President Woodrow Wilson would then, in 1918, pass the Sedition Act, criminalizing any speech that criticized the war efforts overseas. The restriction of information regarding World War I strengthens the Stereoview's importance in documentation, as these views do not censor the war while displaying the harsh realities of it.